Sydney Sweeney, you big fat liar. There is a lot, like really a lot of lies that she has told us and gaslighted us. Before you put a hate on this video, watch it in full. I don't care about her character or like her as an actress in general. Like it's literally the lies she told and I'm like, I'm not okay with that. And still, if you hate me after that, please hate me because I'm a hater myself. So I respect the grind. You know, being hateful takes a lot of energy. After I'm done hating the whole day, I'm like, ugh, exhausted. So how did I discover that our Sydney, the beautiful actress with giant breasts from Euphoria and what's it called again? Anyone But You, is a big fat liar, fat referring to her, the girth of her lies, is I was doing my research on YouTube for my next video. I was actually thinking to do something on J-Lo or rating footballers, hot or not, because this is not so hot show, but you know, kind of deviated from that topic a long time ago. And I stumbled upon this video from a YouTuber called Scandy, basically uncovered lies that Sydney told. And honestly, this woman did such an amazing job. You never want to be on her bad side because she's gonna discover any fucking high school drama you've done. But anyways, like I never really cared about Sydney. I never watched her in anything, not in Euphoria, not in like anything she's done. I do not know. I cannot speak of her talent, but I can speak of her lies. Things she said is kind of sick, like really sick, unnecessarily sick, you know, like she could have just not said those things or kind of lightened it up because everybody lies, you know, but she lies in such a kind of a little bit of a disgusting way. So it's a lot. It's really a lot. I had to literally write a script. Usually I just, you know, do my research and I film and I kind of freestyle my videos. But Sydney put me to work. And a lot of facts that I'm gonna present is from a YouTuber called Scandy and she's really legit. But I've done some work too, so let's dive into it.
So hot show.
One of her biggest lies is that she's just this small town girl from Spokane, Washington. And she lived there for such a long time until she had this dream of becoming an actress. And she has this very soulful story how her parents drove her 19 motherfucking hours from Spokane, I don't know how to pronounce that, to LA to audition. And in the beginning, per 100 auditions that she's done, she would only get a one role, right? That would mean her parents drove what? Every weekend. There's not even enough weekends to drive her to LA every time, 19 hours back and forth for her to audition. That's when it starts crumbling.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And if you research further on, according to her, she moved to LA only when she was 16 years old. Her parents gave up everything for her dream. So her mother, brother, and dad moved into teeny tiny motel room where they all shared like I think 1-bedroom motel, you know, and she was like
16 years old is not the time you want to share a bed with your mother.
And she said,
Oh my god, we were so poor we had to sell our house on the lake. My dad went bankrupt for my dream and that she had to do these like jobs of cleaning toilets in restaurants just to help her parents with the bills.
That's what she said. It's important. Help her parents with the bills. And she would audition and audition until she finally got her first roles and she got famous basically. The random jobs that she did. Sydney babysat, cleaned restaurant bathrooms, and led tours at Universals.
It was hard because they were supporting my dream and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I didn't want to fail them no matter how long it took. I was going to be in TV show or a movie. I wasn't going to stop until something happened.
I was so poor, but I couldn't let them down. I'm gonna achieve my dreams. American dream. Yeah. And in multiple interviews, she always emphasizes how financially disadvantaged they were and how they couldn't afford to live not in Washington, not in LA, not anywhere. Well, actually, she moved to LA when she was already 13 years old, so not at 16, when she was 13 years old. And she attended private school called Brighton Hall. And that private school has a tuition of like $20,000 per year. And that school is a special school for actors, musicians that only runs from like 8:45 a.m. till 1 something p.m. to facilitate, you know, a bunch of these kids going to auditions, doing performances, right? So basically these kids don't really have to study much. They have to just kind of attend so that they could get their high school diploma so they can actually be like,
yes, I'm an actress and I'm a musician, but I did finish high school. Brighton Hall.
You know what's so funny? Sydney Sweeney always says that she went to middle school in Spokane and high school in Spokane as well, but that's not true. She never says anything about Brighton Hall. And actually there was one girl who went to Brighton Hall and she kind of exposed that Sydney was studying there.
I went to a school for like kids who were professional. It was called Brighton Hall. It used to be called San Fernando Valley Professional School. It was like Sydney Sweeney and like Demi Lovato's siblings and Miley Cyrus's siblings. Like it was a lot of like Hollywood kids.
And actually there's a photo of Sydney Sweeney being like a Brighton Hall student posted by Brighton Hall School itself. So already doesn't make sense how her parents couldn't afford to live anywhere, yet they sent her to go to a private school with $20,000 in tuition. That's the first lie. The problem with lying, Sydney, is that you don't keep up with your own lies. Remember how her parents used to drive her from like Spokane to LA, allegedly 19 hours? In other interviews, she says that actually they used to fly back and forth all the time between Spokane and LA. And like, you can ask, well, what's the difference? I mean, it's not such a big deal, right? It's like a mode of transportation. But the way she phrases it is like, oh my God, they had to drive me 19 hours one way just to get me auditions. I had to go such a long way to get there. But then in other interviews say you would only fly in between. So like, what is it? But what makes Sweeney stand out from many of her contemporaries is that she's one of the few actors in Hollywood to have broken through without backing of high-flying parents or prior connections to industry. Yeah, sure.
Oh my God, it was so hard for me to make it as an actress. I didn't know anyone.
Bullshit, girl. Bullshit. Yeah, sure, she went to school with a bunch of Hollywood kids. They all network, and her parents were rich. Like literally they moved to LA to support her career. How is that not parents backing her up? Like what the fuck? Listen to what she said in the interview. There was a period there where my parents tried to shield me as much as possible from the pain and financial stress. They didn't explain things to me and made me angry. So I acted out, but not in the way you would think. I was a straight-A student in all AP classes. I was a valedictorian. Remember that, we're gonna come back to that. I never went to a high school party. I've never done drugs. To this day, she had to mention. To this day, she never done drugs. The acting out Sid tried to find love through boys. I got myself into something really unfortunate and even dangerous relationships.
Okay.
Before we get into her parents and who they are, let's get into her valedictorian and a straight-A student in all AP classes. According to herself, she missed 117 days of school just to do all these auditions and stuff like that. Okay, you can still be smart and ace your classes while missing 117 days of school. Okay, you're a valedictorian, right? The funniest thing is, there's like 80 students in Brighton Hall. So per class, maybe there is like, what, 8 people? So she was a valedictorian among 8 people in a school where you don't need to study. You just come at like, what, 9 a.m. and you leave at 1 p.m. Things you have to do is just check all the boxes. Basicest education to get your high school diploma. You're a valedictorian there. Well, you know what? There's a huge asterisk. If you go to like proper school where you have to really study to pass your GEDs or whatever you call that in the US, right? It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you don't put the hours into work and like do your homework and stuff like that, do your assignments, you're not gonna be a valedictorian, honey. And if you're valedictorian among 8 people, I mean, that's not that impressive. I'm sorry. By the way, here's the picture of the class of 2017, I think, from Brighton Hall. Yeah, 5 students and their moms. And you're a valedictorian from these 5 people. One thing she always tries to make sure is that her character in Euphoria, this, cheerleader girl, hot, is separate from Sydney Sweeney, down to earth. Poor dirt girl.
I wasn't a cheerleader. I was actually...
Oh motherfucking God, there is a lot. There is a lot that she's done. Sydney, who was her class valedictorian, threw herself into a slew of extracurricular activities. She was on school's football, baseball, slow slalom, ski, I don't know, just ski, robotics team. And she also juggled wakeboarding, golf, softball, skiing, and dirt biking, and even a member of math school. So you're telling me that age in high school, went to audition, missed 117 days of school, She's done all 13 sports. And by the way, being part of these clubs is expensive. It takes money. And she was a valedictorian. She aced all of her, classes. Well, the funniest thing, all these sports and clubs are available in her middle school back in Spokane. These activities were not offered in Brighton Hall. So she basically says,
so when I was 11 years old, I did this and that, and this and that, and this and that. So I'm all of those things.
I don't really define myself by the sports I've done in middle school. I've done karate in middle school. I've done chess in middle school, and I'm really horrible at those things. So even I don't define myself by the things I've done in high school, Like, if you literally Google Sydney Sweeney, every article you get is either how poor she was or that she's a valedictorian. And she's so smart. Okay, now back to her parents, as promised. She always says that her father basically filed for bankruptcy. Well, even though her father filed for bankruptcy, they sent her brother to a private school with also like $20K in tuition. You know what? There's a difference, honey, when rich people go bankrupt and normal people like us cannot pay the bills. It's like completely different levels. She might have like exaggerated, but that's a huge exaggeration. She like really always 20,000 times mentions how poor she was, how financially they struggle. Literally, she says they couldn't afford anywhere. They went to motels. They would like, it was such a hard life. She had to do these jobs. And she conveniently never speaks that she and her brother went to private schools, that they moved to LA when she was 13 and not when she was 16, that she used to supposedly drive back and forth. She also went to, I think, acting school as well, which cost a bunch of money. And then that she went to a bunch of sport teams. And I think she's that rich that she doesn't understand, like, attending these clubs is kind of expensive because you have to pay the fees, right, to be part of a member or whatever. But I guess in her little rich brain, like, didn't click. So I did some digging on her parents. So her mom is a criminal defense lawyer. So apparently her mother was so good, she became an assistant attorney general of the Washington state with an average salary of $70K in 2024, with the highest being $183K. And the average salary of Washington state attorney general is 50% higher than the US average. Yay. Which is wow. Okay. And her dad is a director of membership at the Washington Hospitality Association. And he's been working there for 10 years now. Sounds like a good position and a good pay. I think mother doesn't work, but still, the fact that mother doesn't work means that they're pretty well off on one salary of her father. It's so funny. The mom of Sydney,
smart woman,
took a note from Sydney, or maybe actually Sydney told her to say that. She claims that her mom had to work 5 jobs just to get herself through university school, to be a lawyer. 5 jobs. I think they try to play this I'm poor part, usually like low middle class, they have 2-3 jobs. Where, they have morning shifts and they have evening shifts, like literally no time. They just go shift, sleep, shift, sleep. 5 jobs seems like, what were you? A bartender on a Friday, a model on a Thursday? 5 jobs? That seems a lot. Did you do like 5 different jobs throughout the week? Like, I think they really went overboard. And plus, back in her days, back in her mother days, like, colleges were not that expensive. You could pay off your college much easier than you can now. Now it's like, boom. Her mother went to college, 30 years ago? Something is not adding up. What really sickens me, why are you trying to play poor? Like, honey, what's wrong with being pampered?
Lucky you,
I don't know, like this obsession with America of being, oh my God, you made it from the bottom. Like in my country, you're always trying to show that you came from a good background versus a poor background. I found this picture of her. She looks around 16, 15 here. She looks very young. And she, as I understand, is on like these little, these boats, like little jet ski boats or whatever it's called. That doesn't look to me dirt poor. I don't think dirt poor people can afford to do that, By dirt poor, I don't mean like something negative. I mean just like she tries to look poor as fuck. But Hunji, this photo right here doesn't look like you were poor. She's trying to punch all the bingo cards. She was poor. Her parents are divorced. She had to work all the time. She had to go to hundreds of auditions. She was a valedictorian, missed fucking half of the days of school in a private school when you had to barely fucking study to get your diploma. Did all the sports, all the fucking 12 sports that she does, which is, I don't know how she finds time. And she likes to read, by the way, a lot. And she's a good girl.
Because I'm not like Cassie. I didn't do drugs till this day. I'm just very bad at choosing boys.
Like,
Sure, Jan.
I like how she mentions to this day she hasn't done drugs. Like, who gives a shit? It's Hollywood, everybody does drugs. She's trying to put this image of hers, of like a little perfection, this good girl, hardworking, talented, wunderkind, yeah? Wunderkind, yeah? And saying how she's a good girl, she doesn't go to parties, yet she's smart. She doesn't do female sports, she does male sports, you know what I mean? She's a literal pick-me, like a literal pick-me.
I was a tomboy for a couple years. I was obsessed with animals, I still am. Like, I'm a nerd. I'm not like cool like that.
And I hate to say pick-me because it's like overused and it's stupid, honestly. But this is fucking pick-me on steroids.
Because you know what? Fuck cheerleading and being pretty. I'm into math and robotics. I'm not like the other girls.
Give me a break. But the lies are not done there. Basically, at the last year of her high school, she claims to go to work at Universal as a tour guide. Why did you take that job? She's like,
Oh, well, you know, like as any normal teenager, had to pick up a summer job.
all hell broke loose on TikTok. Everybody was like,
I had to do an audition and then a callback and then an interview, and then I was invited to train for 3 weeks before they tested me and then decided if I actually got the job.
I think from like 800 of applicants, only 25 got the job. Because Sydney's so special, she got the job. And when everybody called her a liar, instead of kind of having a chance to be like, well, actually, like she gaslit everyone, made these people on TikTok look stupid as fuck. And she's like, no, I was a tour guide actually. Well, she wasn't. She lied. She did work at Universal, but not as a tour guide. No. Scandy, the YouTuber, she really did a good deep dive. She has a contacts in Universals. Because everything, you know, is recorded, right? Everything's on record, who worked where and what. So she called this worker who still works at Universal and has access to these files. And she asked, hey, so did Sydney Sweeney work as a tour guide at Universal's?
Was not a tour guide, but she did work at Universal for about 2 months.
Interesting.
There is truth to her story. She did work at Universal's, but not as a tour guide. She worked as like a helper for like the actors to get into their costumes. So basically, if you at Universal's were like something, I don't know, fucking a giant emoji, she would help you to put on like this emoji costume. That was her job for 2 months. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's kind of fun, but she had to lie. Shortly after she started her job at Universal, she got her part in Broken Pieces, whatever that thing is called. She got swept away from a normal life and became an actress. Well, you know what? With all of her lies, there's a bit of truth. But apparently, being a tour guide is more of a prestige job and reserved for like more experienced people. Of course, our Miss Sydney.
Smart, not like the other girls. Hardworking, got this job when no one else could because she's special like that.
By the way, Sydney, I'd be really glad if you prove me wrong. I'm sure you have at least one selfie of you like on the job or being in this car, you know, before you give a tour that you probably sent to your mom or your friend being like, hey, look, my first time, my first day on the job. I mean, I'm sure you have that. It's 2018. I'm sure you had a phone then.
Some people might blame her team, basically, you know, they of course trying to craft from her like more relatable character, relatable person who came from nothing to something. I think her team didn't tell her, girl, you know what? Tell that you did work at Universal's, which you did, but lie what you worked as there. I don't think her team gave a shit as what she worked at Universal's. I think she just made it up on her own just to look cooler in front of us. It actually gets more interesting because lies don't even make sense chronologically. She claims that she booked sharp objects while working at Universal's. But the thing is, she graduated high school in 2016, right? The funniest thing, they didn't announce the casting of Sharp Objects till May 2017. She auditioned in like around April 2017 and like not a whole year before when she was working at Universal's. You know what I mean? She worked at Universal's during her last year, 2016, but actually it was in 2017. And Cody Sullivan said that the casting process was so fast, by the time they got to him, they were already shooting it. So I think they announced the lead character only in mid 2017. So like, why would you lie about that? Like, in my head, I guess she's trying to kind of make this I've been swept away story. Like, oh, I've been working this poor job. And then they announce I'm on Sharp Objects. Why would you lie about some shit like that? You know what I mean, girl? Let's like add up all the things she accomplished by the time she was like fucking 17 years old. She worked at Universal as a tour guide. She auditioned 100 times to get one fucking role, did 5 sports, and was in 3 different clubs. Was acting at the same time. She was acting in other projects, and she was a valedictorian. Sure, hon. Before we get to something even worse that she said, where she villainized a professor and bunch of random students that cock-blocked her from getting her bachelor's degree in business. Sure. I saw this article and just laughed out loud. Yes, Sydney Sweeney is also trained in mixed martial arts. Oh my god, what can she do?
Not only are Sydney's a successful car mechanic, she's also an MMA fighter. She says that there was a competition against all guys, men, a weight category above her, but she still won and took a first place. I'm a raging feminist, but unless this was in middle school, honey, you cannot deny that men are physically stronger than women, especially if they weigh more than you, honey. Either they give it easy to you, or they weren't trained in MMA as much as you were, let's say, or, honey, you're making this story up. You didn't take a first place. Prove me wrong. Probably you have a photo of that award, or you fighting there, or maybe you have a medal that you won. Show it to us. Because honey, I'll be happy for you that you beat these men. On the side note, she trained from 14 to 18, as she says. I thought you were poor. How could you afford this?
Back to this evil professor and these evil students who didn't let her to get her degree. So she was on this Drew Barrymore show. Whatever. And she told a story where, meantime, while she was studying at UCLA, I think business entrepreneurship, she was taking entertainment law class from this evil professor. She, in the meantime, was shooting in Canada for Handmaid's Tale. I cannot pronounce that. Handmaid's Tale. I don't know. By the time she was shooting that, she should be in her first year of her university.
I walk into my entertainment law class and my professor goes, "What are you doing here?" "What do you mean? I'm here to take my final." He goes, "No, you're not." I'm like, what are you talking about?
And apparently, a bunch of students were so pissed that she got to like not attend classes and take her finals, and that's why her professor kind of cock-blocked her. How absurd does it sound? Apparently, all the kids, her classmates, were so upset that I was able to miss so many days of school and still succeed. See? Underdog.
I had to do this and that, but I still succeeded, and people were mad at me. They couldn't let me have the success because I'm a woman, and I'm smart, and I'm pretty, and I'm talented. Even though I made Dean's List every semester for 2 years. And he didn't let me take my finals, and I never got the credit.
First of all, for some professors, it's important to attend the classes to pass the course. And apparently, the professor that she's talking about, which is going to stay anonymous, poor guy, he's quite high rated, and actually you have to attend his classes to pass the course. He probably was trying to actually save you from getting a bad grade, so you're not going to tank your GPA, you know, because you'd rather get NA or like withdraw from the course and just retake it or something. You know, as a former student, I did my bachelor's and master's. I didn't give a rat's ass who came, who didn't, who get what grade, who takes finals and who doesn't. Like, I don't give a rat's ass. And I've studied with a bunch of students, internationally, non-internationally. Nobody gives a shit. UCLA is so fucking huge. Nobody gives a shit. They don't care. They just want to fucking pass their fucking exam, go to gym, probably work, pay their bills. Because honey, life, real people is actually fucking hard. You will not believe that. I mean, what she kind of alludes to, because she was this upcoming actress, she was so successful and they were jealous. Nobody would cock block you from taking your finals. As a student, you know the struggle. You wouldn't do that. What she says, that because of him, she couldn't get her degree. And if you have 2 brain cells, you know that by even failing one course, you can still get your bachelor's degree. You just retake a course. If it's compulsory, and if it's not a compulsory course, you take something else. You don't have to literally fail one class and then your bachelor's degree is ripped away from you. Like, what stupidity is that, bro? Like, at least when you make a lie, make it like elaborate enough. You know, what this, it's just such a stupid ass lie. And then she claims that she was basically 2 years in a row on Dean's List at UCLA while she was actively being an actress, and somehow she's handed it all her assignments, amazing grades, and she was on Dean's List. She might be smarter than Einstein, but when you literally have 0 time to do your assignments and show up and actually learn for the course, doesn't matter how smart you are, you're not gonna be on Dean's List. I have a bachelor's degree in finance. Like, I'm not the dumbest person, but for me to graduate with honors, and by the way, I have a paper to show that I did graduate with honors, Sydney, I had to work my ass off for me to be on the Dean's List. And I was actually on the Dean's List, which I can also prove. And it was at some random fucking university in Kazakhstan. The university such as UCLA has high standards and really smart kids. And then you tell me that you literally miss half of your classes filming and somehow you still better performing than the smart students that actually go attend the classes and do all the assignments. Sounds like bullshit to me. Like, please show me the Jordan's list. Like, really, I will eat crow. Show me. Show me. Sounds like a rat's ass of a lie, bro. The timeline is not adding up again. She took the final exam during the filming of Handmaid's Tale, right? So that should be in her first year of university. But in W magazine, she continues to study at UCLA into her third year. So what, he failed you in the first year, you continue to study for 2 more years, and then you failed to get your degree? Big brain time, no calculate. By the way, she was like...
So I was valedictorian in high school. Like, I love school. Kids didn't understand, the professors don't understand. It's hard. I understand, but then at the same time, it's like I was working really hard.
I cannot wait to hear the end of this story.
Thank you. Maybe I'll go to law school.
Girl, I dare you. Go to law school. Go. Graduate from law school, take a baby bar exam, take a proper bar exam, and I will eat crow second time. You think it's easy? You think a smarty pants like you can do that very easily? Honey, law school is so fucking hard. Like, do it. Please do it. And pass your bar exams and shit like that. I'll eat crow third time. I know it's a saying, but I'll literally eat a crow like Wendy Williams did on the show when she said that Kim's marriage will not last to Kanye more than 72 days, which was hilarious.
It's a very tough meat. It flies around a lot. It's very active. So
okay.
And by the way, I never understood these celebs trying to get a degree, like a bachelor's degree in something. Like, why the fuck would you bother? You literally have a full-blown career, well paid, well recognized. Why would you, like, you don't need a business degree to be in business, work in business, right? If you want to be obviously like a scientist, a medical doctor, yeah, okay, you should go to university for that. But for business, bro, like, everybody knows it's a scam. So, you know what I really believe what Sydney's trying to do here by, portraying her to be this extremely bright kid, doesn't just there for acting, she also wants to be smart girl, legally blonde, she wants to be a lawyer now, whatever. She doesn't want to be labeled as like basically a dumb hot blonde, right? Because that's like a stereotype for like Marilyn Monroe, Courtney Love, you know what I mean? And I think she's trying to kind of separate herself from that image and kind of paint herself as this humble, smart, talented, wise beyond her years. And she doesn't care about acting and the beauty stuff. All she cares about this knowledge and shit like that. You gotta be a narcissist to make up these fucking crazy lies and like stick to them as well, right? You cannot be excelling in 25,000 things in your life. Like Michael Jackson was a great singer and a dancer because he just focused on that. Same with Beyonce, right? If you want excellency in something, you focus on those things. You want to be an excellent student, fucking be Dean's List, ace everything, graduate with honors, then you go fucking study. You go to your university, you attend your classes, your lectures, you study, you show up, you do your assignments. You just don't magically do all of those things because you're such a golden child, you know what I mean? Who knows, maybe the next thing she invents Wi-Fi or some shit like that. She went to Jimmy Fallon show, right? She gave him this ball signed by the whole Gonzaga team. Obviously, he asked her, hey, how did you do that? She was like,
they slid into my DMs.
I brought you a little present. So the last time I was here, we were talking about my hometown, Spokane.
Yeah, Spokane.
And you were saying you're a big fan of Gonzaga.
I was rooting for Gonzaga.
So, I brought you something.
What? Well, you really did get me a present.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's signed with all of the players.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You were so cool. I can't believe, how'd you do this?
I had some guys slide into my DMs.
Sorry about that. I apologize about that, yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's useful.
This is so thoughtful. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And I tricked them because they wanted to fuck me, but I tricked them into signing the ball and I gave it to you, Jimmy Fallon.
Surprise, surprise, that was a lie. The true story behind this, there was a contractor who worked on Sydney Sweeney's mom's house. Like, she had an idea to give that ball signed by the whole team to Jimmy Fallon. And the contractor, his name is John, by the way. So John, he was the one who went there, got the ball signed, and like literally he had to rush, so because she was going to the show soon. He literally has this photo of him holding the ball signed by the Gonzaga team. So he had to rush had to pull the strings, had to do all this fucking hard job. Like, she completely erased John's hard work. Even the whole Gonzaga team came out and said, hey, it was John. Like, he did that. Like, we didn't slid into her DMs. He got all of this hard work done for Sydney Sweeney just not to ever mention him and just took all the credit. That's kind of mean. Okay, lie number million. Remember this whole drama with Glenn, who was starring as her like a romantic partner in Anyone But You, where she kind of co-directed, produced this movie with her fiance? Well, when the photos got leaked of them, you know, being all lovey-dovey, everybody kind of assumed that they're having, you know, this romance on the set. And Sydney Sweeney saw an opportunity here. She was like,
oh my god, let's play up that we're actually in love with each other, that we're dumping our partners for each other. It's gonna drive eyeballs to our movie.
How do I know that? Well, Glenn Powell told himself that she's a genius. He literally says she's the genius behind this move. And it was really hard for him because he was going through a hard breakup with his girlfriend because she wasn't on board with this. And it was really uncomfortable for him to act out to be in love with Sydney. And while he was doing that, his girlfriend broke up with him because she couldn't take it. And I understand why. I mean, Sydney Sweeney didn't care for Glenn Powell's relationship or his situation, or that it hurts him and his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend now. Glenn Powell literally said, the only reason it made things harder for me to lean into that stuff was that I was going through a very real breakup and missed a promotional tour. I was with someone that I really loved and cared about and was trying to kind of make sense of a lot of stuff. Yeah, imagine losing a relationship so you could fake your relationship for views. Glenn could have said no, but at the end of the day, she's his boss. She was producing this movie with her fiance, and basically she and her fiance was his boss. And obviously you have to do the promotional stuff for your movie, right? Yes, yes. It's kind of messy, honey. Like, to me, more and more, she looks like a profile of a fucking narcissist. Honestly, I think she's like basically a narcissist. Or close to it, like on a spectrum, you know, of narcissism. Because she doesn't care about others, she doesn't care about lying, she doesn't care about anything. She just wants to portray this image of her to the public, while behind the door, she's not like that. Yeah. Let's get a little break before we continue. Sydney Sweeney is in a new horror film. She wants to remind us how dorky she is. Because she's not like other girls, you know what I mean? She had like a bunch of weird lies. She's like, I only drink water. I only drink water. I drink nothing else but water since I was like, what, 12, 13 years old? That's what she says.
Instead of saying she mostly drinks water or that she prefers water, Sydney went all in.
The only drink I drink is water. I only drink water.
In other interviews, she claims that whenever she celebrates, she drinks Shirley Temple. And then she partners up with like a spokesperson for this water with a bunch of additives like caffeine, sugar, juice. That stuff that shouldn't be in water because she only drinks water. Then she says that she cannot afford to take 6 months break from acting because they don't pay actors anymore as much as they used to. Okay, but you literally own 2 houses in LA that are like 3 million each, I think. And she claims, by the way, that she still lives in Washington. Like, she doesn't live in LA, she doesn't live in California because she's not like that kind of a girl. Although all of her stuff is filmed in California, so I don't know how does this add up. And plus you own 2 houses in California. Like, again, why would you lie that you're still such a down-to-earth person who lives in Washington and you only drive for work to LA? Like, unless you fly private, which is even better, honey. Then she like randomly lies about if her parents watched Euphoria or not. In one interview she says, I get too nervous to watch any of my work with my family. But then she had an interview on Ellen where she said that...
So for the premiere, I invited my entire family. And I didn't really think about the scenes.
Your entire family meaning who?
Like my grandparents, my uncles.
You invited your grandparents?
Oh yeah, I was like, it's a Hollywood premiere, like you gotta come.
And then she claims her dad didn't watch Euphoria, but then her dad did watch Euphoria and then called her and saying, what is this? Because somehow she forgot to tell her dad that she was filming Euphoria. It's like such a giant project. You go to film something and he's probably just gonna ask you, hey, what are you filming? And how did you forget to kind of tell him you filmed Euphoria? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's such a huge project. Like, you go there day and night, you act out, and then somehow you both forget to tell each other or ask each other about like a giant project that you're doing.
Because as you said yourself, your father and your mom sacrificed their lives for your career. I'm sure they would know what you're doing if you're filming something so large.
Her parents are apparently like super religious, and there was like a birthday bash for her mother. A bunch of photos got leaked out, or like it was posted by her brother, I think, with a bunch of MAGA hats, and people got pissed. And she was like,
why do you turn it so political? It's a birthday party for my mom. It's a celebration.
I never imagined having a birthday party and then a bunch of people showing up in like gay flags. Girl, that's my birthday. We're not celebrating LGBTQA plus. What the fuck? Like, bro, or like people coming with all lives matter or Black Lives Matter, like my birthday party. Like, this is definitely a politically driven birthday party. And apparently the people that her parents are associated with, a bunch of conservatives and Republicans, which kind of takes away from what she represents as in Euphoria, which is like a bunch of this gender fluidity, right? And stuff like that. And so her fans are like, bro, you literally like gaslighting your fans. You're playing that out. And this is like important for us, while in real life you're like a conservative, which I get it, but at the same time, she's an actress, bro. What you gonna do? She's an actress. Her parents are Republican, so what can you do? I went on a comment section of this YouTuber, and apparently there's more things that Sydney lied about. Let's read them together. Apparently, Sydney Sweeney lied about having a service dog. Why would you lie about those things? Not to mention, she lied about having a service dog. Service dogs are not just accessories. They're trained to help an individual with disability. And as an able-bodied actor whom most likely does not have any condition disabling enough to require one, she's actively lying about having a disability. She's just slapped an Amazon service dog vest on a dog so she could bring it places it wasn't allowed. Horrible. If it's to be true, by the way. I haven't fact-checked that. I remember she said she built an entire sports car with her bare hands. When asked what she likes about being a mechanic, she just giggled and said, I don't know, I just like cars. Like others have said, she's Cassie in real life. Apparently she restored a car with her bare hands. The thing is, I just don't know how it's literally possible for this person to have such a demanding schedule and at the same time ace so many talents, so many skills. I mean, it's just like literally, bro, it's impossible. Currently said that she reads 5 to 10 books a week. Drew asked what books she recommends that she's been reading lately, and she says,
so many books. I love books.
I always have a book with me. I try to read a book a week. I love reading. I grew up loving reading. I think I read more books than watch TV. I tried getting into like reading on my iPad. My eyes would get tired, and I have to have a paper book.
Oh my
I
god.
dream of having
of course.
like a giant library one day.
Of course.
I'm trying to collect books as I go.
If she reads a book a week is a lot. And being an actress, and being a mechanic, and having a service dog, and going to business school. Fucking hilarious. People literally even ask here, is it possible to read a book a week? Yes, reading a book a week is absolutely possible. I mean, it depends, right? Like, I'm reading now currently Robert Greene, The Art of Seduction. It's like 400 pages long, and like each page has like a lot of words in it because it's so compressed. Like the font is teeny tiny, and it's just like so. Wow, that was, I think, one of my longest episodes. I don't know how long it's going to take to edit it. But yeah, wow, Sydney is a very special girl, man. She's a golden child, one of a kind. She broke through the industry despite her parents not helping her out technically. I feel like she pays these publications to write the shit about her, because everything I read about her is like always emphasizing how she had to go through like 7 circles of hell or 9 circles of hell to get to where she is. That she struggled so much, but nevertheless, she's so smart. She's so talented. She's so sporty. She's in fucking mixed martial arts. She can restore a car. She has a service dog. Like, it's so many things. Like, she's, wow.
Wow, you're so dominant.
Because you know what? When it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So, Sydney, I'm not buying any of that shit. Honestly, I am not. One thing I hate about Meghan Markle, she lies so bad, just like a dumb lie that can be easily fact-checked. Like when she said, oh, the nursery was in flames. Or, you know, they never asked me how I was. Concerned about the skin of my baby. Concerned the color of the skin of my baby. Like, I just don't know why they lie in such a bad manner and so over-exaggerated. Do they think we're that fucking dumb to eat it up because they're pretty? A little bit of brain cells here, you would understand that, hey, might fire back. People might check. I don't think Sydney is going to stay in good lights of public for a long time because she keeps pulling that shit, you know, and the more and more she gets away with it, the more absurd her lie is gonna get. But it's already fucking absurd to the point of, I don't know. I think she's trying to become Jennifer Lawrence back in her heyday when she was like very liked and very lovable, or Margot Robbie, because she had to go through some hell to be a successful actress, you know. But Sydney, you're not that. Like, you are you. There's nothing wrong with being pampered. I do hate that she pretends to be poor when and like glamorizes it somehow. Being poor sucks, bro. It's a really hard life and it's not fun. And a lot of people don't get to live their dreams because they just don't have the money or the time to do what you've done. A lot of people work their asses off just to afford to live. And you say, yeah, I did that. Plus, I'm so smart, so sporty, and I'm an amazing actress. And I got the auditions and I made it into Hollywood. That's kind of mean, honey. The thing is, if she's that fucking smart, as she claims she is, she would have made a bit more like believable lie. You could like skew the facts, which I don't mind everybody does, but a little bit. You don't have to go to the far extreme to pretend what you're not. Because I think we have another Meghan Markle on our hands right here with Sydney Sweeney. I've talked so much shit, my camera turned off and out of battery. It never happened before. The problem with playing pretend poor is you making other people feel bad. They're gonna compare themselves to you. They're gonna be like,
oh my god, Sydney also had to work, also had to do a bunch of sports, and she was a straight A student, and she managed to do all these castings and get the acting jobs.
Underprivileged kid is gonna be like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do what Sydney did? You know? Beyonce never had to lie about her upcoming. I mean, she was from a very kind of a solid upper middle class family. She had the money, she had the trainings. She's not less appreciated because of that. It's her hard work. I mean, if you're not really confident about your talent as an actress, just say that. I don't know about your acting skills. Never watched you act. You know what I mean? You don't have to like make up a fake story just to make yourself look exceptional. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. It's a bit of a dark episode again. I'm sorry. I'm doing fun episodes as well, but nobody watches them. This was a hard episode, so please like, please subscribe. I know beggars cannot be choosers, but I'm begging, so I don't care. Who are you to subscribe? Yeah, it's kind of pathetic. Thank you so much. This was Akma from Not So Hot Show. And see you next episode. I'm gone to Budapest for a week, so not gonna post next week, but I'll see you soon. Bye.
Not So Hot Show.
That's hot. No, it's not. Like, literally.